Hey, this is a video update for a project I'm working on. It's for a camera strap, but part of the project is kind of explaining and choosing appropriate leather. And what I wanted to do in this video was kind of review that for the project, but also for people who are interested or just watching, kind of explaining the different types of leather that are available. And I'm not covering all the leathers, different types of leather, obviously that are out there, but these are some of the major ones, and they're used quite often in leather crafting. So I'll get started with the first one, which is very popular. It's called Veg-Tan leather, vegetable tanned, or tooling leather. And basically tooling leather starts off in this kind of natural flesh tone color. As you can see, it's got a rough side and a smooth side. The smooth side is usually what is tooled. You can basically, once you case it, once you wet it, it can be tooled with a design, stamped, and it can be dyed almost any color. So this is probably the most common, and this thickness, this is looks like probably a 6 to 7 ounce thickness, and this one is probably a 4 to 5 ounce. And it comes in different thicknesses. This is a key fob, and this is 3 to 4 ounces. I am shooting outside, so if you hear any strange noises, that's what's going on. It's birds and stuff going on, and it is a little windy. But it comes in different thicknesses, like most leathers. And yeah, you can tool it, you can color it, and basically what you have in front of you is a sample of bracelets that I recently made. I haven't attached the snaps onto the sides yet, but I kind of want to show you the potential of tooling. This is an individual, each little pattern is a tool. And you basically run it to make a design however you want. And I do dye the back of my bracelets. So yeah, this is a horse stamp that's available, and you can make an imprint. You can also do kind of a two-tone effect where you basically resist certain parts of the leather, and then when you put the dye over it, you can easily wipe off the part you resisted, so it creates like a two-tone effect. Anyway, so the nice thing about Veg-Tan is the tooling properties, the dyeing properties, and also we talked about edges and burnishing. Veg-Tan, in general, the edge burnishes really nicely. It can take a little bit of work, but it creates a nice smooth edge. And I grabbed the bracelet. This is like 8 to 9 ounce leather. It's thick. It's a single thick piece of leather. But you can see when you burnish, I don't know if you can tell, but it has a nice smooth finish. This is almost only possible on vegetable tan leather. Now you can still burnish and smooth the other leathers I'm going to show you, but they're not going to have kind of the same effect that vegetable tan leather does when you burnish the edge. So so that's the first leather, the most basic leather that's really popular. So let me move on to what I call horse application attack. And there's two types of leathers I want to show you. One is latigo, and the other one is bridle. And I'll start with the bridle first. This is a horse lead chain, or however you want to call it. Basically, this part snaps onto the halter. This is the 20-inch chain, and then the latigo leather strap. The nice thing about latigo is it comes already colored. So this strap came black. In fact, I'll show you. This is the raw strap here. It came black already. The edges, of course, if you cut them or on the edge, are not finished and they're not dyed. So the challenge with that is when you try to burnish the edge, it still looks pretty smooth, but it is harder to burnish because there are oils and other things already put into the leather to make it, waterproof, water resistant, more durable. But because of those things, when you try to burnish an edge, the process that is used in burnishing is usually using water or gum tragacanthum. It doesn't absorb as easily into the edge. It's not meant to, because that's the property of latigo. But it's still, as you can tell, it's still doable. It's just not as smooth as, for example, the Veg-Tan was. The plus side is, though, this makes a really nice, durable strap. There's a minimal stretch. I mean, it will stretch to some extent, but minimal stretch, especially for human applications. For horse applications, it will stretch more. Sorry. And it's just a nice, durable leather. So this is a black. This is latigo too. This is some bracelets I made, and I'll show you really quick here. This is like a brown cognac color. I did not finish the edge of these. Now the reason for that is it's beveled. I don't know if you can tell or not. There's a bevel to it, but it is harder to burnish because you want to match. I like to match this color on the edge. So because the dyes I have, they were brown, or they were different shades of brown, but they were not this nice cognac color. And so to me, I had to make a choice to either leave it natural, it's not natural, it's like a brownish tint to it, or try to use a brown dye that came close. And to me, I might try a couple just to see what it does. The other option is obviously to use a black edge coat, which you see done on belts a lot. You'll see a brown belt or a tan belt, and you'll see that they have an edge coat on it that's usually like a dark brown or black. So, could you burnish this more? This particular latigo, the way that the grain is and the fiber is harder to burnish compared to something like this, especially if you don't have this dyed or finished. So, I mean, some people like this look, some people don't. It's really a personal preference how you want to, do it. So that's latigo. And the next one that I've been experimenting with is, this is called Bridle. Bridle leather is really similar to latigo. It comes usually, already dyed from the tannery. The main difference between Bridle and latigo, well, there's several, is just the oil content and just the way it's been treated. Is that Bridle can be tooled, latigo can't. So this is Bridle. It came black. So this is an unfinished strap. I cut out, and basically you can stamp right onto it, onto the black, and then you can go back and finish the edge off and smooth it. It does burnish relatively well. Let me see if I can get that to focus. It does burnish better than latigo, but still not quite as clean as vegetable tan. But it's still smooth, still has a nice feel to it. So this is black bridle leather I have, and then obviously I have this. This is like a tan bridle. The nice thing about it, like I said, is you can stamp into it, and then really just put a waterproof paste or a wax over the top. This bridle, this tan bridle, was harder to burnish, and really, if you can't cover the edge with a dye, it becomes hard to burnish because the fibers itself, it needs something to hold it down, something to bond. So you can use water or what they call gum tracking anthem to burnish it down, but it's still harder to do compared to Veg-Tan anyway. And let me go over these two other leathers that are pretty commonly used. This is really popular leather. This is considered chrome tan leather. Let me back up a little bit. This is basically upholstery leather. This, for example, is just a thin. I mean, it comes in different thicknesses. I'll go over. It is already colored. It is already finished. It's basically you can't add dye to it. Well, you could. It's just not going to adhere very well. But ideally, you're not supposed to add dye to them or color them in any other way. And it has that finish where it's relatively water stain resistant, to some extent. But it's not gonna. Usually, it's not gonna. The dye is not gonna come off on you. So this is like a green. This is like a white, chrome tan, red, and there's a couple other chrome tan pieces. that I have. And this one has like a glazed finish on top of it. I don't know if you can tell or not. It's a little bit shiny. This I've made a case from before, and the finish on it is just extremely water resistant. I've dropped. There was a case that I made for myself. I've dropped soda on it. I've dropped water on it, and you can just wipe it right off, and it doesn't even look like anything touched it. And then here's another chrome tan piece. The issue with these is it's nice because they're already finished, already dyed. You cannot tool them, and really you cannot burnish the edges very well at all. I actually don't have a sample because of a burnished edge, because it is almost it's just almost impossible to do. You can add an edge dye to it to kind of minimize that contrast, and you can smooth it a little bit, but it does not quite bevel and burnish like Veg-Tan or Bridle will. And the last leather I like to use a lot it's called oil tan leather. It's similar to chrome tan. It is already pre-dyed. There's already a finish, so to speak, applied. You don't need to waterproof it necessarily, and it has a nice feel to it. At least I personally think it has a nice feel to it. It comes in a variety of thicknesses, but oil tan is usually thicker. At least in my experience, it's usually thicker than the standard chrome tan. The chrome tan stuff. Chrome tan can come thicker. It's just harder to find sometimes. The thing about oil tan leather is it has a nice soft feel. Because the oil tan has some water resistance to it, and one of the properties of oil tan, usually, it depends on the hide, is that you can put a scratch on it. You can put a scratch on it, and really it adds to the look sometimes. But most of the time on oil tan leathers, you can kind of, with heat and your own body oils, you can almost make the scratches disappear. That scratch that I put. So, like I said, as far as bracelets go, and as far as in the hand feel, it has a really nice feel to it. The only issue with that is using this as a camera strap is that it is stretchy, and my fear would be over time it would probably stretch out. So that's something to consider. So this is one hide. This is another chrome tan I have. Now, same idea, you can scratch it. Now, this one has a little bit less oil content, but you can see the scratch. The scratches fade away with heat and with oil. And oil tan is also harder to burnish. It is very similar to chrome tan in that way. You can see the edge here. I will show you a case, tablet case I just made. Let's see if I can back up. It holds my Samsung Galaxy Note. But you can see for the edge, what I ended up doing was I tried to put a black dye on there so that you wouldn't see, this part. But the deal with that is, there's a high oil content in the leather. So when you dye something, it wants to kind of repel that liquid. It works out all right. You can see, as you burnish it, that process is smooth. That process is starting to wear off. I've been using this for a few days, so you can see it's starting to wear off. But really, it just depends on what you want to use. This has a nice durable finish to it. Like I said, you can scratch it up. It adds character to the strap. My only concern is that it does stretch. It has a potential to stretch. But yeah, those are basically the 4 types of leather that are available. My initial feeling for doing a camera strap would be to go with either a latigo or the Bridle. Some version of this, and this is the latigo here in this brown. It is, it's, like I said, it's used in horse applications for tack. It's strong, durable, very little stretch, and Bridle especially can be tooled on, and it is inherently water resistant because of the oils that I use. But I use a waterproof kind of a beeswax paste to to make it even more water resistant when the finished product is done. It does have nice, flexibilities, but it's still rigid. Latigo, depending on the thickness you get, will be thicker. Will have the same flexibility. So, anyway, let me know what you think. If you have any questions, or if anyone else has any questions about leathers. There are a couple other leathers I did not cover: harness leathers and other kind of horse tack application leathers, which I did not go over, mostly because I don't use them very often. But if you have any questions about that, I can let you know. Take care. Bye.